sure looks gorgeous. This is the first time I've ever ridden a Ducati anything. I think the Panigale V2 is a brand new model this year. Yeah, I cannot find neutral to save my life. There it is. Maybe I'm getting better at it. Just takes a little getting used to. Hydraulic clutch feels butter smooth. I love the LED display. If you've watched any of my videos for a while, you've heard me complain about Kawasaki's lack of jumping into the current century with their LED display. I mean, it's not bad, the Ninja's good, but everybody's got these lovely color LED displays except Kawasaki. I would like to see the RPMs in a different color. I mean, just at a glance, it's not easy to tell what RPM you're at. I mean, the dial looks cool, but the value for the current RPM kind of just blends in a little too much. And gosh, the engine is it's noisy. There's a lot of like mechanical noises this engine makes. I don't know if that's just the Ducati valve train system or these brakes. Yeah, it's pretty much what you would expect from Brembos. They feel wonderful. And this hydraulic clutch, I'm a fan. I am definitely a fan of the hydraulic clutch. You know, I think some people say that these Ducatis, they run kind of hot. And maybe that's also just kind of the nature of the two back cylinders. Don't get quite the airflow that the front cylinders do. I don't know. But I'm not really noticing it yet. We're just taking this thing for a cruise around town. We got mode controls. Oh, you're not going yet, are you? I just heard you go. I'm just down here looking at this awesome Ducati. On my first gear, yeah. Takes a little getting used to. I tell you what, it as far as like ergonomics, compared to my ZX10, yeah, this bike feels good. It definitely feels more narrow around the gas tank when you grip it with your legs. And the bars are not so far forward or low. It doesn't feel bad at all. I like it. It's I mean, for a crotch rocket, it's comfortable. I feel good. The seat, I don't know if I've ever ridden a crotch rocket with a really comfortable, good stock seat. I mean, this one, when you feel it with your hand, it feels very like foamy. It's got a lot of cushion, but riding the bike and sitting on it right now, I don't really notice it. I was kind of, after just feeling it with my hand, I was kind of expecting to be able to feel more with my butt, but I'm not. It kind of feels like my seat on my ZX10. The other thing I notice is if you lug a V-twin, man, you know it. The first few times I took off from a standstill, I kind of lugged it a little bit, and like this little brake reservoir here, it was like it was, let me tell you, you just know it. I mean, you always know it, but on this bike, you know it a bit more. It is starting to get a little toasty around the inside of my legs. I think I'm starting to feel it now. I mean, the one thing you got to give the Italians is they eat well, and they make the sexiest motorcycles and cars that civilization has ever known. Let's do a quick walk around with the engine running, and we'll shut it off. Give it a nice, good once over. So you can see the seat. It's really, really cushy. but I think there's a lot more cushion up front here, and then in the back it's just not as thick, it's not as deep. But looking at the seat, when you feel it with your hands, it feels great. It feels like it'd be super comfortable, but so far I'd say it's average. The shock placement and this linkage, very interesting. Tell you what, the one-sided swing arms are just awesome. I love the way they look. Never worked on a bike with a single-sided swing arm, but sure looks gorgeous. Oh man, gotta take those stupid reflectors off your Brembo brakes there, bud. Stock exhaust sounds good. All right, fan is on. So I don't think anybody can deny that Ducati just makes phenomenal looking machines. They always have. I mean, you could go back to the 60s and their bikes look badass. Their bikes have looked badass forever. So this bike is no exception. Although I'm not a fan, Yamaha has a rear tail section like that. I'm not a fan of either the Yamahas or the Ducatis, the way they've got the holes coming through. I don't know. I just like the solid tail section look better. I guess because of the way the V twin exhaust gets routed, that's probably like the only place for the shock to go. And I don't know. Ducati does really well with World Superbikes, so it must work good. I think the black fender was a great idea. I think if they went with the red, it would have been a little too much. And it really kind of helps tie in this piece here, and this area here with the black front fender. It looks great. It looks great. This is interesting. Little rubber pad on your gear shifter. You know, as far as ergonomics, I mean, I've only ridden it for a couple miles so far. As far as the ergonomics, really happy with it. It's easy to adjust. I love. It might seem silly, but this rear fender piece right here, damn, it looks good. They did a good job designing that. Got some little airflows there, and it just, the shapes and the contours, awesome. Man, it's a beautiful machine. All right, let's get back out on the road. So you'll notice the mirrors are missing. And we've got some zip ties here to hold those in, and you're like, what the heck happened? It's a brand new bike, monkey butt. Well, the owner, my daughter's boyfriend, we were out riding yesterday, and I picked a questionable place to make a U-turn for a new rider. It was super tight. There was sand and gravel, and it kind of dropped off. It wasn't level at all, and I just wasn't thinking. So long story short, bike tipped over, a couple little scratches here, and this mirror broke, so we took both mirrors off. So I have no mirrors. That part's a little awkward, but it was bad choice. I picked a bad choice to turn around. She worked hard to start there. Bike needs to be broken in, but the clutch feels kind of slow, no, fast. I mean, it engages really quickly. From the point where you feel it to start engage to the point where it's just fully engaged, there's not a lot of time there. So I don't know if that's just an attribute of the hydraulic clutch, or if the bike just needs to be broken in more. Yeah, man, that clutch lets go fast. brakes feel great. Wow. I gotta figure that out. I have a hard time. Wow, look at all these bikes. Wow. Damn, it's a big group. I have a hard time lifting my toes up. So I tend to run on my street bike and my motocross bike. I run the pedal just a little bit lower. Just makes it easier to use the brake pedal. But the brakes feel wonderful. They really, really do. The suspension is, it's not bad. My first impression was I thought the bike would have really stiff suspension. I've never ridden an R1, but I've been told that that bike really kind of comes set up for the track, and so the suspension can be very jarring and unforgiving. I do love this front brake. It feels wonderful. Where was I? Yeah, R1 suspension. So I kind of felt like maybe the Ducati would be the same, but it's not bad. Huh. Oh, that was 8,000. Sorry, Peter. My bad. I am liking this bike. The heat is an issue. I know what they're talking about now. It does get hot around the seat area, so like your inner thigh and your man parts or your lady parts, they get warm. That's a fact. I don't know why I couldn't find neutral earlier. It's super easy to find neutral now. Every time it's almost like on the first hit. I just realized Ducati made a wonderful machine, and they went with the cheapest, ugliest levers they could find. What is this? This slit in the back? Are they trying to save weight? I mean, you go all out. Thing is beautiful. Brembo brakes, hydraulic clutch, quality suspension. You got your modern LED color screen, and I say color. There's only one little bit of red. Everything is black and white, some gray. It's an awesome machine. Why not put some decent looking levers on there? So I'm being nitpicky, I realize that, but I did notice it. All the controls feel pretty good. I like how they integrated on, off, and start into one button, basically. That's kind of neat. So on my bike, I've got a toggle switch for on and off, and then I've got a start button about where your thumb would be, which is a good placement. That's the only thing that's wrong with this is you aren't going to reach up here with your thumb, right? You pretty much have to take your hand off of the grip to start it. So it's kind of neat that they worked it all into one control, but it's not very usable way up there. You pretty much got to take your hand off the handlebar to start it, which, I mean, it's not a big deal, but I usually flip the switch, put my hand on the grip, and then use my thumb to start the engine. Let this car go a little bit. They're scaring me. I don't know what you're doing. I'm slowing down, you're slowing down. Stop being stupid. What are you doing? Why are you riding your brakes? I'm slowing down even more. There's nobody behind me. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to slow down. You keep slowing down. I'm trying to stay out of your blind spot, you idiot. I'm dropped like 15 miles per hour. I'm gonna pull into here and just let this idiot get the heck away from me. I mean, it's hard. That's one thing that I guess maybe, nah, not really. It's hard to, like, how am I going to make this better? It comes so awesome off the showroom floor. You know, obviously you can dump the big, huge catalytic converter, put some nice sounding pipes on there. But it's so awesome, just stock. I don't know what you do to it. I'm sure I'd find something. This bike is awesome. Would I own one if I could? Absolutely. I don't know if I would want one to be my main street bike, Look at these bumps, man. That's Colorado. I don't know if I had one, if it would have to be like a second bike. I would say that probably if I could afford to have a second bike, this bike would be at the top of my list. It was already at the top of my list, and I should probably explain that a little bit. I have, you know, a ZX-10R, which is a great bike. I love it, but I wouldn't want another inline 4 Japanese crotch rocket. I just wouldn't. I got one. I'm good. For your average consumer on the street, I don't do track days. I'm not racing anymore. The differences that matter to me for what I use the bikes for are things like ergonomics and the aesthetics, just the way the bike looks, the way it makes you feel as you come out of the store and you're walking up to it and just looking at it. And this bike is 100% a winner in that category. It's a Ducati. It's Italian. It's stunning. Okay. So a V4R or this Panigale V2 would be the bikes that, and I don't think I'll ever get the V4R. That's just crazy expensive. But this bike is not as expensive as the V4R, and it's not an inline 4. It's something different, and I think that's kind of where I'm going with. Even before I saw this bike in person and rode it today, the V2 was at the top of my list of if I could get a second bike, this is it. And now that I've actually seen it in person and I've actually ridden it, that still remains. This would absolutely be my second bike. Could I have it as a single bike? If I only had one bike, would I be okay with this? Yeah, absolutely. This is a great bike to ride. It's a great bike to look at. The only big knock I would say is it definitely gets hot. I'm used to the clutch now. It does get hot in this area for sure. Around here, it's hot. You're probably sitting right on top of the exhaust, I believe. So that's that. But I would totally buy this bike if I could at some point get to a place where I could afford it and afford to have a second street bike. I guess technically I do have a second street bike. I have my 97 Gixxer that I will have to revive one day. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I might keep it, sell it, but it is what it is. But let's pretend I don't have that. Let's pretend that the Ninja is the only street bike I have. I would love to have this as a second street bike. This bike is pretty awesome, but I probably wouldn't ride it every day. I would probably continue to ride my Ninja more and to ride this on special occasions. I love the fact that it's not an inline 4. Even with the stock exhaust, it still sounds great, and I like it. I totally would buy this bike. So that's it. That's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I sure enjoyed making it. I get to ride this beautiful bike, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Keep the rubber side down.